In a major setback for the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi High Court has rejected his application upholding the legality of his arrest by the Enforcement Directorate. Now, the court has said that Kejriwal's arrest was legal and so was his remand to the ED custody. Delivering the order, the judge observed that this matter is not a conflict between the central government and the Delhi Chief Minister. Rather, it's a matter between an accused and the Enforcement Directorate. Further, the court also observed that it has to examine Kejriwal's arrest and remand of law irrespective of the timing of the election, in response to Kejriwal's contention questioning the timing of the arrest ahead of the upcoming Lok Sabha elections. And to take this discussion ahead, I'm now joined by AAP spokesperson Anmol, BJP spokesperson Anuja Kapoor, and senior journalist and columnist Sheth. Let me come to you, Mr. Sheth, first. What do you make of this? The Delhi High Court order making it very clear that it's not going to dive into the issue of the timing of the arrest, but will rather look at the legality. What do you make of this High Court order?
I think that this particular order shreds Kejriwal's position. I mean, there are three things if you look at it carefully. First, it says that, the court has said, the Honorable Court has said that it cannot have two different matrix for an Aam Aadmi and for the Chief Minister. The Chief Minister had asked for, video conferencing, and that has been rejected. Second, I personally think that it makes his position increasingly untenable, because by denying the bail, I do not see how he can now continue as the Chief Minister, because, the moral obligation now really weighs on him. And lastly, I believe that, one should, if you look at the structure of the party, it is a very person-centered party. So without Kejriwal, who will be the next Chief Minister? Will there be a next Chief Minister? What will be the process? It is more a cult-oriented party. It is somebody had called it India's most successful startup. But once you have become a big company, as you know, in this business channel, you need structures, you need people to back up, you need a succession plan. I think this really does increase problems for Arvind Kejriwal.
Let me take those comments across to Mr. Pawar. Mr. Pawar, what do you make of those comments? The High Court order, the High Court spelling it out very clearly that the argument that Abhishek Manu Singhvi had forwarded, that this arrest is designed to disable, to humiliate, to skew a level playing field, has not managed to cut ice. Mr. Sheth calling it a cult following that Arvind Kejriwal has, and that going forward this will be detrimental. This High Court order will be detrimental for the party.
Ashmit, I don't agree with that, and we respectfully disagree with the order passed by the Honorable Delhi High Court, and we will challenge it before the Honorable Supreme Court. We still maintain our position that this entire case hinges on just 4 approvers, and 2 or 3 of them very categorically, the record reveals that how one of the approver, P. Sharad Reddy, gave 60 crore rupees to the Bharatiya Janata Party, and the other approver initially gave 5 statements in which he categorically denied involvement of Mr. Kejriwal, and it was the 6th statement after his son was behind bars for 5 months that he was allowed to be released on bail on 18th of July 2023. So, and I also believe that there's in our country there's existence of different levels of judiciary, which ensures that if a mistake is committed by a lower court, then a higher court can step in and correct that error.
Right. So a challenge is due, a challenge is expected, is what you're confirming here with us. Ms. Kapoor, thank you also for joining us. First question to you: there are parallels being drawn with the Sanjay Singh matter. The fact that there is no evidence linking the accused to the money trail, that is what got Sanjay Singh the relief. The High Court for now is not granting relief, but clearly, as the Aam Aadmi Party is pointing out, the battle is now shifting course from the High Court to the Supreme Court.
Jai Shri Ram, good evening to my panelists and to you. It is a very strange moment which I just witnessed with Anmol, who is a spokesperson for AAP. He is challenging something which is already said and laid down by the Supreme Court of India on approver, which has already said that in 2019. The evidence of an approver has an important role to play and also a checkered past. He has, on the same ground, when we are talking about the Supreme Court, who you are questioning, has also talked about the various times when you're talking about the Sanjay Singh. So ED is a fair and the transparent and the logical and judicious law-abiding agency. When they did not require the presence of the Sanjay Singh in the present case, the case is still on. And Sanjay Singh is on bail. He's not acquitted. Delhi High Court has rejected Sanjay Singh bail
But
on
Ms. Kapoor,
October
if I may just come in on
2023
one
and in
aspect.
February 2024.
Ms. Kapoor, if I may... Ms. Kapoor, if I may just come in on one aspect. While the High Court has traversed the length and breadth of the arguments that were put forth by Kejriwal, there is no dispute on the fact between Kejriwal and the ED that there is no evidence. The ED is not claiming to have any evidence. The ED says we have no evidence linking him to the money trail. Is that something that you feel going forward will strengthen Kejriwal's position as he contests this matter before the top court?
Look, there is what I talk about. There is a lot of evidence which is there, which has already been shown in the chambers. And that is why Kejriwal who claims that because I'm a politician, I should have another ruling for me and another law for me, has been given into a remand by the court. Don't forget, this is a legal case. This is a legal battle. And they have to fight. Aam Aadmi Party has to fight in the court for their legal issues. You cannot bring BJP, any agencies in this party, anything in between, because this is your legal battle. The trail which has already been taken up by the court of rupees 338, which has been presumed on prima facie on regarding to this, Manish Sisodia is not been given the bail many times.
Sure.
And his curative petition has also been rejected by the Supreme Court of India. So I would like to believe that my learned friend does not hold any kind of, you can just talk about it, the plea, that is what I said, but speaking about here in the debate will not help you because this is a legal problem. I would also put forward one more thing. There are two, as they
Let's
said,
also address, speaking of legal problems.
Just
right,
the
Ms.
last
Kapoor,
thing.
we'll try to address one of these issues one by one. We'll try to address these issues one by one. Let's bring in the next issue here. Mr. Sheth, let me take it up with you. One of the concerns that Kejriwal had raised was this modus operandi. The SOP is what the Aam Aadmi Party is calling it, that the ED arrests an accused, pressurizes him or her till a statement is made against Kejriwal or one of the higher-ups, and then that person is released. Case in point that Aam Aadmi is making is Sarath Reddy, Dinesh Arora, in case of Sanjay Singh as well. Does this argument, the argument for now with the Delhi High Court is not convinced, but is this an argument which perhaps can yield dividends before the top court? Let's bear in mind, it was in the Sanjay Singh matter that the Apex Court had asked questions on why the heavy reliance by the Enforcement Directorate on just one statement by Dinesh Arora against him when there were 9 others where he had not incriminated Sanjay Singh.
The fact of the matter is that the judgment by the Honorable High Court is actually surprisingly harsh. You just mentioned that there is no money trail, but the whole point is that the court seems to be saying there is a policy trail. That policy was changed, and why was it changed? Is there an underlying trail that can be established? Therefore, my contention here is that what will be interesting is how long is Kejriwal held? How much time does the Enforcement Directorate and the court process take? I think the time will be of essence, and if there is enough evidence, and if the court is convinced that there is enough evidence to hold the Chief Minister inside, there is also the moral issue. Can the Chief Minister then continue as the Chief Minister? So, like I said before, the High Court has been actually pretty harsh if you look at the statement in detail. I think the ball now is in the court of Kejriwal's lawyers to try and convince the Supreme Court, which will be a very, very uphill drive, given the harshness of the High Court's judgment, that no, there is not enough evidence to hold him longer. I personally do not see how that can change so easily, especially given the fact that his personal culpability has also been mentioned by the High Court.
Sure. Let's go back to the Aam Aadmi Party. Mr. Pawar, the question I want to ask you here is that you've mentioned the argument in press conferences before the courts as well on the timing of the arrest. I want to get more from you on that in response to a specific comment and argument that the ED counsel, that's ASG SV Raju, had made before the Delhi High Court. He at one point, while making his arguments, had also said that we also want to attach the assets of the Aam Aadmi Party. Are you anticipating that, given that the head of the party is anyways under jail?
Ashmit, the same counsel for the Enforcement Directorate a few months back was not even aware of the fact that any political party can even be implicated, can even be made a party under Section 70 of the PMLA Act. That was the observation given by the Supreme Court, after which they started crushing the Aam Aadmi Party, which is posing a serious threat to Mr. Narendra Modi and Bharatiya Janata Party today. Secondly, I would like to respond to the baseless contentions made by the panelist of Bharatiya Janata Party. It is the same court wherein the Enforcement Directorate made similar observations and an order was passed denying bail to Mr. Sanjay Singh. But when we approached the Honorable Supreme Court, they categorically denied that there's no trace of proceeds of money, that not a single penny has been recovered. And if the Enforcement Directorate still argues the case on merits, then they'll be forced to make some observations as per the mandate of Section 46 of the PMLA Act, which says that. And in fact, it was the observations made by Honorable Justice Khanna that we will specifically write that no prima facie offense is even being made out against him. Secondly, as far as approver is concerned, approval is required when there's a dearth of evidence. And this case, after 1.5 years of inquiry, 500 raids, not a single corroborative evidence is present in this case. And thirdly and lastly, we are very hopeful that we'll get relief from the Honorable Supreme Court, because we know that we are innocent. And every people of this country
that's for a later date, of
believes that Mr. Kejriwal is innocent.
We're running out of time. I'll get a final comment from each of our panelists. Ms. Kapoor, let me come to you now. This arrest comes in the backdrop of a lot of enforcement action against opposition leaders, opposition parties, concerns being expressed even internationally. Is that something that you think will have a bearing on the voters while they cast their votes? This enforcement action that we are seeing on opposition leaders, concerns being expressed internationally about free and fair elections?
This is I think India has given back the answer to all those well-wishers of India, because we know how we're going to tackle the corruption in India, as we have a zero tolerance towards it. May not be the US and the other people who may not believe in this. Maybe they believe in corruption in themselves, in their own countries, and we don't go there and we check on them. And the free trial, it is a free trial. Everybody is entitled to a free trial, as we are entitled to natural justice in each court. So I think when ED, somebody is asking about a petitioner, they also ask about in the ED to give their answers also. That is called as natural justice and the rule of law, the supremacy of. And when we talk about this, we are also looking up into the matter when the Supreme Court in Sanjay Singh and in Kavita also, recently Kavita was not given a bail. She was rather remanded further to CBI and to other, there are other exchequers which we are looking into. And when you're looking at the Supreme Court has very categorically said this is not a precedent. You have only that ED is not objecting. That is why, because we asked them, so that is why we are giving you the bail, and we are not giving you any kind of an order on the merits. So this is what also for my friend who thinks he's also a lawyer, because I want to just put it forward. You have committed an offense. An offense does not see an election or does not see you are a party to belong to it or not. Yes.
Right, Ms. Kapoor, we're running out of time. I'm afraid I'll have to interject there. Ms. Pawar, final comments now. A lot of this action that you've mentioned against Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is coming at the time of, same question here, a lot of enforcement action against opposition leaders. And yet there are reports which seem to suggest that once some of these opposition leaders, troubled opposition leaders, jump ship, life becomes a little easier.
Certainly, Ashmit, and I'm carrying this list. You can watch this. These are 25 opposition leaders joining corruption after facing corruption probe cross to BJP. 23 of them got reprieved. Now, this is the reality of Bharatiya Janata Party. All the ones whom they labeled as corrupt in the past, their own leader, Mr. Narendra Modi, used to say that Ajit Pawar has done corruption of 70,000 crores. Recent, their Kurukshetra candidate who was involved in coal mining, he in fact, from the rally in Kurukshetra, casted aspersions and leveled serious allegations on Mr. Naveen Jindal. And now he's contesting from BJP, and a list is very long. and now they come
I
on
think Ms.
TV and
Kapoor
give
is quite
lectures on
eager to come back
morality.
with a response to that.
I just
Ms.
want
Kapoor
to
is
say
quite
that,
eager to come back with a
yes,
response to that.
Yes, yes. The response would be that first of all, my friend, as you keep knocking the doors of the court, please go ahead. We are not stopping you. If you have the evidence full of it, please go ahead. Praful Patel, CBI, FIR did not give a name in the first place. So that is a closure which comes to this. If you talk about Ajit Pawar, EOW filed the closure report. And
EOW has challenged that
this
closure report.
We're running completely out of time. I'll just ask one more question to Mr. Sheth.
Pratap Sanayak is also the closure report.
Please get your facts correct.
Hemanta Biswa
What about
also.
Prasha
You see,
Shankar
the case
Pandey?
is also open.
I think this is a
And when
heated
we talk
contest
about
that is
the
refusing to die down.
legislation,
Clearly, as the Aam Aadmi Party is telling us and confirming to us here on Election Exchange that they will be going ahead and challenging this High Court order before the apex court. I'm afraid we don't have any more time for our panelists. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us and for being a part of this discussion. But clearly, we've not seen the end of it. This High Court order rejecting Kejriwal's application due to be challenged now before the top court of the country. And with that, it's a wrap on this special broadcast. More news and updates continue right here on CNBC TV18.